I remember this too.
And for those of you that have joined already, Tracy, Francis, and team, do you guys see my screen? I've got pulled up the diagram of our sales funnel.
Yes.
Yes, I see it.
Perfect. And I see Courtney and Jen are showing in the meeting as well. Just give it about 2 more minutes and see if we've got anybody else that's going to join us this morning, and then we'll get started. And I have the meeting from 9 to 9:45, but we should be able to get through all of this sooner than that. I just wanted to make sure I put enough time on our calendars. But I know you guys are all really busy and you've got the properties to open and all that good stuff. So I will get you off as soon as we are done.
Make sure. I can wait up. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'll be right back.
And quick question, Francis, you guys are using CRM or PopCard? I believe it's CRM, right?
Yeah, we're using CRM.
Perfect.
And Jana and I are sharing a computer.
Great. Well, I did have several others sign up for today's, but again, I don't want to keep you guys too long. If others start to join, that's fine. But it's kind of nice that we've got a smaller group on this morning that will, it just helps when talking through this. So I'm kind of excited about that. And again, I'm going to go ahead and just get started. And if anybody joins, or if you guys want this recording, I will send it out to you guys afterwards. You can share with your teams. Tracy, if you wanted to share with your teams as well, just so they have it as a reference. And going forward, I plan to do these webinars as refreshers on a monthly basis. So we should be good if anybody signed up that isn't able to make it this morning. But I do appreciate you guys jumping on with me this morning and to go over this. And I hope all of you guys take something away from this today. But to go ahead and get started. So first, I want to just talk through what we're going to talk about today. So Wood Residential Services, we have certain expectations when it comes to sales. And if you don't know what those expectations are, it's really hard to know whether or not you're being successful, right? So if you don't really understand the expectations when it comes to sales, it's hard to know if you're hitting that mark in those goals each week. And that's whether you're looking at it as an individual. So if you as an individual want to know if you're meeting your mark each week, or if it's an overall team effort as a property. So this morning, again, I want to just take a short bit of your time and walk you guys through the WRS sales pipeline so you understand each conversion and how each of those conversions convert, how each one of these different areas convert. And after the webinar, you should have a really good understanding of what the specific metrics or what those specific expectations are when it comes to our sales pipeline, and also how to dig into certain reports that we have in order to see on a daily basis where you might be missing that mark and where you can focus to improve so that by the end of each week, you know that you are hitting those pipeline goals. So I have pulled up on the screen right now a very helpful diagram. I converted it into a Word document. I also have it in a PDF. So I'll send this out to you guys as well afterwards. I know several properties, Miss Dana brought up on a sales calls recently, which was a great idea. I thought she's got this like board in the back break room at her property that she's working on that has, different items different resources that are important to Wood Residential on that board, so that it's kind of a constant reminder to her and her team each morning. And one of those items, along with like our operational philosophy document, she also has this diagram on the wall so that everybody knows what their expectations are as far as our sales pipeline. So I thought that was a really good idea. And again, I'll share that with you guys after this webinar so that you can print it out and put it at your desks and just have it as a reference. But this diagram is where we're going to focus a lot of this morning, as well as I will show you those reports that you can drill into after we talk through this. But we'll be spending a lot of our time on this actual diagram, and I'm hoping that we've all had a little bit of coffee so that we can really talk through this and engage and participate in a conversation. And please, guys, ask any questions if you're not sure or you just aren't understanding, and I can always back up. But I will tell you that when I started with WRS, I had never done leasing before, and it was during my onboarding that this was introduced to me. And I cannot stress enough that this is, once you understand how this works and those expectations when it comes to sales, this is really the secret sauce. This is what made me successful. This is what made me feel like I was prepared on a daily basis, how I knew exactly where I needed to focus for that day. And that's one of the biggest things, is that if you're not sure, where you need to spend your time or where you're missing that mark, you don't really know where to focus in order to be successful that day. So again, I can't stress enough that once you guys understand this and you start using it on a daily basis, that's when you're really going to start to see yourself outperform. This is the secret to all of the success. As long as you are actually digging into this and looking at it on a daily basis, you will end your week with the actual, success that you are expected to have. So again, just ask questions. Let me know if I need to back up or all that good stuff. Has anyone, and before we go into it, has anybody seen this before or has not seen this before?
Yes, I've seen it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've all seen this.
Awesome, great. So we should have lots of conversations here. So let's get started here and just talk through first our pipeline, which is showing right here in this funnel. So let's talk through the pipeline and how each area should convert. So you see how at the top it starts with our marketing channels. So as you guys all are, I'm sure, familiar or know, we have different marketing channels where we market our properties through, right? Whether that's our internet listing sites like Google or apartments.com, our property website, or it's our outreach that we're doing, email blasts, flyers, all of those different marketing channels. The purpose of those are, or the effort of those marketing channels are to bring leads to our properties, right? So when it comes to CRM or PopCard, those different marketing channels have specific tracking phone numbers and emails, so that when they come through our lead tracking system, again, whether that's CRM or PopCard, for the first time, those leads are called first contacts, okay? So those leads that are contacting us for the first time are our first contacts. So there's several different types of initial contacts a lead can come through as, right? Who knows what those first contact types, or what some of those first contact types are?
Phone call?
Yep, Dana. Was that Miss?
What's that?
Was that Miss Dana?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Yep, so we've got phone calls, and I heard someone say email.
Email.
Yep. What are some other first contacts?
Walk-ins.
Absolutely, walk-ins.
I don't know if
Anybody
this would be considered an email or not, but an inquiry on your website.
Yep, an inquiry on your website. So those come in as emails, absolutely. So first contacts, so you guys understand with the reports, there are several different types, which you guys hit most of them. And there are a few others that some of you might be using at your site. So we've got phone, email, walk-ins, and if you have a chat feature on your website, then you can have a first contact of a chat, right? Or if you have a texting feature, that is also a first contact. So again, those come through us by either, first contacts come to us by either email, phone call, walk-in, SMS, which is your text messaging if you have that feature, and or a chat lead if you have that feature and you're using those at your property. So everybody understands what a first contact is. So do you guys know as far as first contact to appointments, what of those first contacts would not convert to an appointment?
A walk-in.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got our first contacts. We know a walk-in would convert straight to a show or a tour at our property. But those phone calls, emails, chats, and texts, the next area that those contacts should convert to is appointments. Okay? And we should be, the expectation, the WRS sales expectation is that we should be converting at least 50% of our first contacts to appointments. So what are, and honestly, 50%, that's not a lot. I mean, we should be, of course, it's one of our 10 benchmark questions, asking setting an appointment with every single lead at our property. But as far as our WRS expectations, or in order to hit our goals, we only need 50% of those first contacts to set an appointment. So that's pretty easy, but it's important to know that we should at least be hitting that 50% first contact to appointment. What are some ways that you guys think that's easy? How are you guys, ensuring that you're at least getting 50% of your first contact to appointment?
Requesting for an appointment?
Yep, exactly, right? It's pretty easy. Ensuring that we are asking to set an appointment. And, when it comes to asking for an appointment, some helpful tips is, you don't want to just say, hey, we're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. You can stop by to tour whenever you like. Because that really doesn't hold anyone accountable, and that really doesn't, help us set a specific appointment. So best practice there is to make sure, when we're talking to our leads, that we're giving them, we're not giving them such a big time space. We're actually setting a specific time by saying, hey, I have a 2:30 available today, or if you're not able to stop by today, I do have several other openings this week. When's the soonest that you can stop by? And then really, giving them those specific options, those specific times and dates. And then that way, that you have got an appointment set, and your appointments are held more accountable to show up because they know they have a specific day and time. All right, so we know what our first contacts are. We know that we need to set 50% of our first contacts to appointments. So the next part of the pipeline or the funnel is going from appointments to show, right? So once we've set that appointment, we know now the next step in the pipeline is that appointment needs to turn into a show. So why do you guys think 90%, why do you think the WRS expectation is so high when it comes to appointments to shows?
Normally, if you set an appointment with someone, they do feel obligated to show up. And if you're following up with them before the appointment to make sure that they are coming, then then your appointments should show up pretty much every time.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you, Dana. You hit the nail on the head. Exactly. If we are, again, setting that specific time and that specific day, and also making sure in the morning that we are following up with that prospect to remind them of their appointment, they're more reliable to show up, exactly like what Dana said. So it's really important that we understand that, this is a high, expectation from appointments to shows, but as long as we're, doing those simple things and following up with our appointments, then they're going to show up, and it's going to be easier to hit this conversion. Yesterday, I did this same pipeline class, and Eric Gurin, one of our regional managers, brought up he brought up an experience that he had this week. He was calling one of his comps, and the agent, when he was calling the comp to see if he could come tour the property, the agent was just like, yeah, we're open Monday through Friday. You can stop by whenever you like. And he never got a follow-up or anything. And so he honestly just forgot that he was supposed to just go shop the comp. So just imagine if that was an actual prospect. If we're not following up with them and reminding them of their appointments, and or just, showing that we, have a certain time and day set aside for them, then they don't feel like they need to remember, or they won't remember, right? So it's really, really important to just understand that follow-up is so important, and making sure we're setting that specific time. And you're guaranteed to hit that.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No,
please. I had that same experience in the spring when I was looking myself for an apartment personally, and I felt unwelcome because it didn't seem like it was important for him to tell me, or want to set an appointment with me. It was the same experience, Monday through Friday. We're open from this time to this time, and you can come when you want. Kind of just, I felt like he didn't really want me there to begin with.
Right. And that's such a bummer when it comes to when someone's looking for, this is such an important part of, someone's life. It's their home. And when we're not making an effort to make it, make them feel like they're wanted at our communities, then that doesn't help. If we're actually making them feel like they belong at our communities, and we want them to be a part of our communities, that's what makes us stand out from our comps. And I absolutely agree. And it's crazy that simple thing, that if we're remembering to do that, that's what's going to set us apart, because we know our comps aren't doing it. Thank you for sharing that, Tracy. So we've got, 90% appointments to show. Okay, how about the next part, right, is the actual show to application. Now, 33%, I know this for a fact, especially with the Southeast and just the East properties in general, because I do these stat reports on a weekly basis. You guys are awesome at getting the application. If someone is showing up, you guys are closing and getting those applications. So I know that you guys can meet this 33% shows to applications. Just remember our 10 benchmark questions. Remember, we should always be asking for, the application, and, inviting them into the clubhouse or the different areas of the property to, fill out the application and put down their application fees that day. So 33% to me is really, really low. And that's an easy one for you guys to meet, but you have to remember the steps prior. You have to make sure you're actually getting people to come in, right? So once you get them to come in, you should easily be able to hit that 33% show to application. Now, why do you guys think that the conversion from application to approved application is so high at 90%?
We should be pre-qualifying people.
Absolutely. So again, the next step in our pipeline conversions is we are expected to we are expected to get 90% of our applications to approved applications. And it's as simple as making sure that we're pre-qualifying and explaining to our applicants what our application process is. So that's very easy to hit on if you know that you are pre-qualifying, and, you know, just letting people know what qualifications and what our qualification criteria is. Now, the next portion is applications, approved applications to signed leases. Why do you think that's so high?
Once they sign their lease, they're committed.
Exactly. We should be getting, once an application is approved, we should be generating those leases and getting those out to our future residents within 72 hours. And if we're doing that with every single one of our approved applicants, we're easily hitting that 95% conversion expectation of approved applications to signed leases. So guys, as soon as those applications come in and we're following up with those applicants to get them to sign their leases within 72 hours, that's how you're going to meet that goal. And then again, just like you said, signed leases to move-ins is at 100%, because if we're continuing to have that good customer service and keep our applicants updated with their application, and we have that signed lease, and we're walking them through the move-in process and what they need to do, then you're not going to have to worry about cancels. One thing that I learned when I was on site, you know, lease ups can be really stressful. You have tons of leases coming in, and it's hard to, you know, keep up with all of your new leads, as well as, you know, make sure you're keeping up and helping your applicants with the move-in process. So I remember when I was on site, we were getting, you know, sometimes 15 to 16 applications in a week. And, you know, if you're not keeping up, those really pile up, right? And so by the end of the month, we would have a ton of pending applications in our on our dashboard, and we would realize, oh no, we need to make sure all of these leases go out. But because we, you know, let them get so high, when we were calling people back, they, you know, would cancel, and it was hard to save them at that point. So again, as long as we're making sure that once an application is approved, we're turning around and getting that signed lease within 72 hours, and we're helping them through the move-in process by scheduling their move-in date and all of that good stuff, then you guys will always hit that 100% signed leases to move in. And then how about, and it doesn't just stop, you know, our customer service should never just stop when it comes to a resident moving into our communities. It's so important to make sure that we continue our customer service and our follow-up with our residents after they move in, because that's really what's going to help us meet that 40 to 65% move-in to renewal once a resident comes up on their renewal. And again, you guys are awesome at, you know, your customer service with your residents. So that 40 to 65% move into renewal, you guys can hit that. That's easy. But again, we just need to make sure that we're not stopping, you know, our follow-up and our customer service with our residents right after they sign that lease and moved in. We need to continue that through their time living with us. So again, this is exactly what our expectations when it comes to sales is. As long as you guys are hitting these marks with each one of these areas and how they convert, then you are outperforming and you are meeting that sales pipeline goal. I'm sure all of you guys are familiar or have seen, most of you have seen the stat reports that go out on a weekly basis before our sales calls each week. Those stat reports are done nationwide. So every single property their performance is posted in Wood Connect on a stat report each week. And that is so that all Wood Residential associates and all Wood Partners associates, they see how every single property is performing on a weekly basis. And if you look at that stat report, it will show you on each property tab what your conversions are for the week. So again, when that question comes up of, you know, how was your week? Where are you guys? Is there anywhere that you guys might be missing the mark, and what are you going to do to improve upon it? That is exactly what we just talked about. As long as you guys can pull your conversion ratio report, which I'll show you those reports here in just a second, and calculate, okay, we had 50 first contacts this week. That's our phone calls and emails, chats, SMS, text. That doesn't include our walk-ins. We had 50 first contacts. So we know that we need at least 50% of those first contacts to be appointments. Well, say you're pulling that report on a Wednesday and you only have set, you know, 15 appointments. So how many more appointments would you need in order to meet that goal?
10.
Who said that?
Oh, I did 10.
Awesome. Exactly. Exactly. So that's the secret sauce right there, Francis. It's knowing that you guys have access on a daily basis to these reports, and you can go into these reports and on a daily basis and see each day where you're missing the mark. So you don't have to wait for new leads to come in. You can actually work those leads that you already have in order to make sure you're at least hitting that 50% first contacts to appointments. So before I go into Yardi, before I bring up Yardi and show you guys these helpful reports, does anybody have any questions? All right, perfect. So in Yardi, if you're using CRM, which I believe the majority of us on this call, or all of us on this call, are all using CRM. Is anyone not using CRM? Perfect. Okay. Well, with CRM, the cool thing is that CRM's appointment sets can integrate over to Yardi on our box score report. So I first want to show you guys from the box score report in your analyticals how you can drill in order to see and know that you're meeting your goals. And if you're not meeting your goals, where you can go in order to work your pipeline, or where you need to go in order to work your pipeline. So again, your box score in analyticals allows you to drill into things. So that's the report that I suggest you guys use. So if you go to Analytics, Operations, Residential, let's see, let's use Alta Grand. Is Sam on, or anybody from Alta Grand on? I hope she doesn't mind I use Alta Grand. So if you, awesome, perfect. So for instance, today, so say you come in and during your morning huddles, you guys want to all check your reports to see where you want to focus for the day. So you know what the big focus is, and in order to meet your goals. If you just come into your analytical reports and you pull your box score summary, and you can pull it Monday through, our reporting weeks are Monday through Sunday. So if today's Thursday, we want to just start from Monday and go to today's date in order to see where we're at for the week. So if you click display in your analytical reports, anything that is highlighted in or underlined with blue, you're able to drill into. So once Yardi gets warmed up here for me. So here we go. We've got Alta Grand's box score. The first section of the box score, you have your availability, you've got your resident activity, and then underneath that, you've got your conversion ratios. So this is where you can focus. And there is an actual conversion ratio report as well that you can pull by individual agent. So if you guys are also wanting to drill in even deeper to see how you're performing as an actual individual, you can pull the conversion ratio report and summarize it by agent. And then that way, as an individual, well, maybe I need to work on my appointment sets because I haven't been getting enough appointments, or maybe it is my appointments to shows where I'm missing the mark. But as a property, if you guys are pulling this and talking about it on a daily basis, you should be able to pull your box score summary, because that's going to show you how many first contacts you have had for the week. Remember, those first contacts are those initial contacts that a lead had with us. So you have your phone calls, walk-ins, your emails, any other, which would be web chat, and then your SMS if you're using that texting feature. So here, how many first contacts does Alta Grand have so far for the week?
8. Well, 8, 9 to 12, yeah.
12, exactly. So they have 10 walk-ins, which is great because 10 walk-ins are going to convert to shows, right? Automatically. So their walk-in to show conversion is 100%, which is great because we should always be showing something whenever someone walks into our properties. But as far as first contacts to appointments, we're going to look at our phone calls and emails here where we have 12 first contacts. Now, right underneath that, you'll see how many appointments we've set for the week. Okay, so here it's Thursday. We know that we've only set one appointment, but we've had 12 first contacts. What are we going to do? What was that?
I set 5 more appointments.
Exactly. So we know that we need to set at least 5 more appointments. So the secret here, guys, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, is that, okay, we already have these 12 leads. So before we do anything, we want to go back to those initial 12 leads we've already had for the week and try to get 5 appointments from those 12 leads. Instead of waiting for more leads to come in, we need to make sure we're going back to those initial 12. And that's how you're going to be able to ensure that you're at least hitting that 50% mark. And what's cool about the box score report is that you can easily, from this box score, okay, pull up your appointment. So you know that you've set one appointment today, right? And that was with Andre Knoll, because it will break down by prospect who the first contact was or who the appointment was. So you've got Andre Knoll here. He's the only appointment we've been able to set. So I'm going to go to my phone calls first and see, out of my phone calls, who do I need to call back to set an appointment? Well, we know Andre Knoll already set an appointment. So we need to call these 3 individuals back first thing this morning and try to set that appointment, try to get them in the door and set that appointment. Okay, and the same with our emails, because those are first contacts as well. We'll pull up on our emails and drill down into our emails, and we know that we need to go back to these individuals, and you can drill down even further right here from that report in order to get their email and follow up with them, or get their phone number and follow up with them. Just make sure you're also going into their guest card and marking that you followed up with them. But it's a quick and easy way to get your day started, knowing, okay, we've had these 12 first contacts. We've only set that one appointment. So we need to go back to all of these people except for Andre, who already set his appointment, and try to get them to schedule an appointment with us. Okay? And then that way you know that on a daily basis whether or not you're meeting your goal. And so that's just your first contacts to appointments. So once you know that you're okay there, then you also want to go through the rest of that funnel, right? Okay, how about appointments to shows? Well, so we've had 10 walk-ins and we've had 1 appointment, but we've only showed 10 people. So are we meeting that goal? Well, we are meeting that goal, right? Because our expectation is 90% appointment sets to shows. So we're at almost 100% right there. So we know we're doing good with that. But if we weren't meeting that metric, we need to go back to those appointments that didn't show up, or go back to those initial first contacts and get them to either reschedule their appointment or come back in and tour. And then so on and so forth. You've got your shows to applications. So so far, Alta Grand has had 10 shows for the weeks and 5 applications. Are they meeting their goal? Absolutely. They've got 50% applications to shows, which our expectation is only 30%. So again, here, you guys do such a good job. When you get people in the door and you're touring them, you're able to close. So if you weren't meeting that goal, if you've had, 10 shows and maybe only 1 apply, what are you going to do? You're not going to wait for more leads to come in. You're going to go back to those 10 shows and you're going to call and follow up with them and, remind them to apply online, walk them through the process, get an update with them. And then, of course, approved applications, that shows. So if you're not meeting your goal from applications to approved applications, maybe you need to work on pre-qualifying a little bit. Maybe it's something you guys as a team need to work at as pre-qualifying. But here you can see Alta Grand has had 5 applications and 5 approvals, which is 100% conversion. Now they did have 1 denial, and sometimes we can't, help denials. But again, as long as we can't help denials or cancels, but as long as we're keeping, our applicants informed of the application process and our qualifying criteria, and we're following up and keeping them informed and, having that great customer service, we're really going to not have to worry as much with the declines and cancels. So again, guys, this is so important that when the first thing you do in the morning is to come in and just pull your box score. Pull your box score, look at your funnel and calculate if you're hitting each one of those marks. And whatever mark you're not meeting, make sure you focus on that day and go back to those initial people that have already contacted you instead of waiting for more leads to come in. And that's where you are really going to see as a team and as an individual yourself be successful and outperform. Any questions? That makes sense to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
I have
So
one
again, go ahead.
What makes the numbers change for the resident CRM activity, calls 13 versus the conversion of calls 4?
Great question. So our residential CRM activity, this includes any activity, whether it's a be back that's calling us back again, whether it's a be back that's coming into tour again. This is going to have every single bit of activity that was put in CRM. Now, the reason for the difference is that, yes, there might be 13 phone calls, but only 4 of those phone calls were new leads. Does that make sense? Like this is taking into account every single bit of activity. And see, when you dig in, you can see if it has activity next to it, then that means they've either come back or they called back twice in that same day. But if it shows contact, that's the first initial contact that's feeding into the conversions. Because remember, our conversion ratios each week only are the initial. They are only the initial first contact that the prospect has with us.
Got it. Thank you.
No, thank you. And then, of course, you've got all of the other activity when it comes to CRM on your box score, which is so helpful because you can see exactly how many follow-ups you've done as a team that week and all that good stuff. And I also have, if you guys aren't familiar with this, it's our daily huddle spreadsheet. When I was on site and Goldie was my regional manager, she was real big on, making sure that we document our meetings, our daily huddles each morning. And so it used to be just a piece of paper that, we would all sit around and huddle to make sure that we understood where we were for the week and what we needed to do in our action plan for that day. So this is something I'll send out to you guys as well. this is really important. During your meetings with your teams, as a team in the morning, you guys can use this, and part of it is to help you guys see what you're converting. So it's all you have to do is like put your names of each individual team member here and pull those conversion reports by agent in order to see exactly how many phone calls you've taken for the week, exactly how many walk-ins you've taken, emails, so on and so forth, how many appointments you've set, and it will automatically calculate for you, because it's in an Excel spreadsheet, what your conversions are so far. So that's really helpful, and you can save that on a folder in the W drive so everybody can access it and kind of put an action plan together. And this really helps property directors on a weekly basis when it comes time to, you know, do their Monday morning reports or get on those sales calls. You guys can just pull up your daily huddle spreadsheets and see, okay, this is what we talked about this day. You know, this was our action plan. This is where we were meeting the mark. So you know exactly, you know, everything that happened for the week. And again, it's got your pipeline performance, that same goal that's on that stat report, the same sales conversions that we talked about here. It's got those and automatically will calculate first for you. So you can see here, I had 19 first contacts for the week. I've set 10 appointments. I'm exceeding that expectation of 50%. Because I've set more than 50%. I'm at 53. So again, this just helps you know where you're hitting the mark and where you're missing, might be missing the mark, so that you can type in here and come up with an action plan as a team for that day in order to make sure you're hitting those goals. So this is very helpful, and I will send this out to all of you guys if you don't have it already.
Yeah, that would be great if you could send that out.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Of course. All right, so I will send, I will put all of these helpful resources together for you guys in an email and send that out. And I'll also save this recording after I convert it to send out to you guys. But again, I'm telling you, just take a little bit of time in the morning, pull those reports. And again, in Yardi, if you're looking to try to find your conversions as an individual, which was something that, you know, I loved doing, because I always wanted to see, you know, for myself as an agent, you know, what it was that I personally might need to work on. You can pull this conversion ratio report and you can do it by agent, okay? And you can hit display, and then you can really drill down into your individual self to make sure, okay, hey, I've had 3 phone calls this week, 1 walk-in and 3 emails, okay, but I know I've only set 1 appointment. So I need to go back and at least set, you know, 3 more, well, let's see, there's 6 first contacts here. I've only set 1 appointment. I need to go back and at least get 2 more of these people to set an appointment, and so on and so forth. So you can pull your conversion ratio to get your individual conversion, and then also you guys can pull your box score in order to get your appointment sets for the week and your property goals. And if you just pull those each morning, you know where you're at for the week. Then come Monday morning, you guys know that you've been looking at it on a daily basis, so you've hit each one of those goals by Monday when those stat reports are posted. And I will tell you that if you guys are reaching each one of these metrics on a weekly basis, that's when you know you're outperforming and that you're meeting your goals. So again, I appreciate you guys jumping on this and you know, being so engaged and all of that good stuff. If you have any questions, just let myself or Brett know. We're happy to help and walk you through it if you need help pulling your own reports and all of that good stuff. But I do have several resources that I've created, even how to drill into those reports step by step. So I will send all of these resources out to you guys as well as the recording.
Awesome. Thank you.
Jessie. Thank
you guys. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.
You too.
Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Jessie. Bye.